It's a great opportunity for us to learn offense, right? Move the ball, pass, cut. We just can't stand and watch anymore.
Interview 1. When Sophie Cunningham first arrived on the basketball scene, she was defined by toughness, fearless between the lines, and confidently outspoken beyond the court. But recently, everything about her feels different. Her energy, her look, even the way she moves now draws attention in ways nobody expected. She is no longer just controlling games in basketball shoes. She is capturing focus. Wherever she shows up, the same player, once known purely for relentless hustle, is now turning heads for a totally new reason. So what sparked this remarkable shift? Stay with it, because the journey is unbelievable. How Sophie Cunningham completely changed her own narrative. Sophie Cunningham never asked for approval. She stepped onto every floor with ownership, whether it was a loud high school gym in Columbia, Missouri, or a packed WNBA arena filled with roaring fans. Even before the league, even before fame arrived, Sophie was creating something stronger than a highlight reel at Rockbridge High School. She did not simply set records, she crushed expectations. For consecutive state championships were not luck, they were a declaration. By the time she finished her high school journey with almost 2,000 career points and earned McDonald's All-American recognition, it was obvious Sophie did not simply play basketball, she breathed it. While many athletes slow down after early success, Sophie accelerated. At the University of Missouri, she evolved into an unstoppable scorer and fierce leader, starting all 129 games over 4 seasons. Her presence was electric, her approach relentlessly physical, never hesitating to attack defenders, absorb contact, and pop right back up. The stats kept climbing: over 2,100 points, elite shooting efficiency, and nationwide praise. Yet it was her mentality that truly stood out. She never backed down, she battled nonstop. That same intensity carried into the WNBA in 2019, when Phoenix drafted her 13th overall, the highest selection in Missouri history. But rookie years are never storybook moments, and Sophie understood that nothing was given. She earned every second on the floor, outworking teammates, chasing loose balls, fighting in the paint, and shooting without hesitation, even when shots were not falling. After 6 demanding seasons with the Mercury, something surprising began to surface: comfort. And for someone fueled by edge, comfort quietly became the danger. So when the 2025 trade finally happened and sent her to Indiana as part of a 4-team move, Sophie did not think twice. This was not just about wearing a different uniform, it was an opportunity, a reset button. The Fever were loaded with new momentum, driven by Caitlin Clark's generational spotlight and Aaliyah Boston's powerful control. Inside, the pace was quicker, the style more open, and the competition unforgiving. That was exactly what Sophie had been missing. The old stand-still corner shooter role was gone in Indiana. Every single possession required constant motion, loud communication, and relentless defense. For Sophie, it felt like breathing again. From the first day of training camp, her hunger was obvious. She did not simply participate, she attacked every drill like everything was on the line. Coaches quickly highlighted her adaptability. Teammates fed off her effort, whether she was guarding faster players, crashing the glass, or firing deep shots on the break. She played with a raw intensity that could not be manufactured. But the biggest change was not mechanical or physical, it was mental. Sophie was done playing cautiously. She was not there to blend in, she arrived to lead, to push the tempo, and to remind everyone what real grit looks like. Once the season began to gain momentum, she was no longer settling, and she was defining the energy. Walking away from Phoenix carried weight, but Indiana offered more than a clean slate. It gave her room to become sharper, tougher, and endlessly aggressive. And as the Fever tempo slowly transformed, Sophie Cunningham was not simply blending into the system, she was reshaping the rhythm entirely. So what happens when a role player takes control and refuses to release it? Stay locked in, because this chapter is only beginning. Sophie Cunningham, the spark that ignited Indiana. From day one, it was obvious Sophie did not arrive in Indiana to quietly coexist. She came to disrupt. If Caitlin Clark represented the face of the Fever's daring new chapter, Sophie became its spine, its strength, its pulse. She was not the top scorer, and she was not the most hyped name, but night after night, she made herself impossible to ignore, not through numbers, but through raw toughness and fearless play that demanded attention. Everything reached a flashpoint on June 17, 2025, during a heated showdown with Connecticut. Clark was struck in the eye during a physical battle beneath the basket. Before most fans could even understand what had just unfolded, Sophie was already across the floor, sending JC Sheldon down in one clean, fearless move. The whistle sounded, the arena exploded, social media instantly divided, officials ruled it a flagrant. Sophie saw accountability, and for countless viewers watching live, it became the exact moment Sophie Cunningham was recognized as Caitlin Clark's enforcer. Yet while many focused on that single act, very few recognized what it truly represented. Sophie was not only standing up for a teammate, she was defending an identity. She sent a clear message that no one challenged her group without consequences, and even though her stat line, 5 points, 4 rebounds, nearly 2 steals, did not scream star power, her influence stretched far beyond numbers. Her energy shifted the pace of every matchup. Her voice mattered inside the locker room. Her effort forced everyone else to raise theirs. What stood out even more was how she accepted her role coming off the bench. Many players fade. When that happens, Sophie grew stronger. The instant she stepped onto the court, the game changed. Energy replaced fatigue, intensity replaced hesitation. She was not there to pass time. She was there to alter the flow. From deep threes to fearless drives through traffic, she delivered Indiana exactly what they required, exactly when it mattered. What distinguished Sophie Cunningham was not only her skill, but her intuition. She sensed the moment perfectly, knowing when to push and when to stabilize, whether it was halting a run with gritty defense or sparking a stalled offense with a daring solo effort. Sophie didn't just participate, she interpreted the game. Her approach was never about showing dominance, it was about lifting her team. She revived Indiana when they lagged, restored rhythm when energy dipped. Coaches admired her grit, teammates drew strength from her intensity, and though fans might have labeled her a sixth player, she became much more. Indiana's emotional core, not the face of the franchise, but its driving spark. As the season progressed, something shifted. The conversation began to focus on more than just. It was no longer just about her toughness. The conversation shifted to her true value. Some players ignite a game from the start, others finish it. Like everything is on the line, Sophie Cunningham did both. And when the intensity peaked, it wasn't her numbers that commanded attention, it was her presence, her voice, steady, raw, and direct, cutting through chaos and lifting the team when it mattered most. But what triggered this evolution, and what could it signal for Indiana's future? Stay tuned, you won't want to miss what happens next. The spark. Sophie often sat off the bench, yet whenever she spoke, the atmosphere changed. No rehearsed lines, no filter, just pure truth delivered with the same force she brings to every play. She never sidesteps problems, and when the fever season began feeling like a whirlwind of thrilling highs and crushing lows, Sophie did what most players avoid. She spoke out loud after a tough loss that left fans frustrated. Cunningham grabbed the microphone and left all pretenses behind. "We have strong moments," she admitted, "but why can't we keep it going?" Her voice didn't waver under pressure, it ignited it. She didn't make excuses, she delivered a wake-up call, pushing her team to rise above the early season roller coaster. Some players shrink from intensity, Sophie converts it into motivation. It was more than a post-game quote, it was a direct message to the locker room, the front office, and the fans. And when she said, "We owe the fans," you felt it, because she meant it. The Fever had just posted a baffling performance, shooting only 30% from the field, and Sophie wasn't afraid to call it out. "Unacceptable, we are never shooting 30% again," she added with a smirk that warned more than encouraged. She understood the talent on this squad: Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston. No more excuses, it was time to connect the dots. But Cunningham isn't only words. When Clark was sidelined in the preseason opener, Sophie stepped up and answered the call. She answered the call without hesitation. In the final moments, she calmly sank the free throws that pushed the game into overtime, securing a gritty 79-74 victory. It wasn't about showboating, it was about impact, the kind of effort that turns respect into unwavering trust. Her teammate Kelsey Mitchell didn't hold back, calling her a dog, and coach Stephanie White reinforced it. She brings toughness and versatility, the kind of player you build a team around. That fiery mindset didn't fade when the buzzer sounded. Sophie continued to elevate herself and everyone nearby. After a standout performance against Atlanta with 16 points and 10 rebounds, her first double-double of the season, she casually shrugged with a grin, saying it's about time. Even her humor carries expectation. She drives herself the same way she drives her teammates. When she first joined Indiana in that major 4-team trade, she wasn't just excited, she was certain. "Heck yeah, we're about to win a championship," she declared it. Wasn't arrogance, it was conviction. Cunningham recognized the potential, a new core emerging, a rising star in Caitlin Clark, and a retooled roster anchored by veterans like Kelsey Mitchell and Erica Wheeler. Yet belief alone wasn't enough. Action, accountability, and edge were required, and Sophie delivered all three. She became more than a sixth player, more than a protector, more than hustle in the box score. She became the voice that speaks when others hesitate, the spark that ignites when the locker room goes quiet, the anchor who shows up when the team's back is against the wall. When she said the Fever needed to be better for the fans, she didn't whisper, she proclaimed it. When she called out inconsistency, it wasn't complaining, it was leadership in motion. The moment Sophie became the emotional core, it was only a matter of time before her voice stopped being background noise and became the main story. And when she finally said, "No more motion offense," on live television, it didn't just shake the locker room, it sent the entire WNBA world into a frenzy. She didn't shout, she didn't raise her voice, but her words were powerful enough to rock the foundation of a team that had been coasting on autopilot. In one sharp sentence, Sophie said exactly what fans, players, and even coaches had been quietly noticing for weeks. Something had to change. The offense felt stagnant, the energy forced, and the results didn't match the hype surrounding this Indiana Fever roster. But Sophie didn't hold back. She laid it all bare for everyone to see. Within hours of the clip airing, Caitlin Clark, rookie phenom and media sensation, made her position known. She reposted the video with 4 simple words: 100% with you. And that was enough in a league where rookies seldom speak out and veterans usually follow the company line. Caitlin's quiet support lit a spark. Suddenly, it wasn't just Sophie's voice resonating through a post-game press conference, it became a rallying cry. Kelsey Mitchell, a respected voice in the Fever's core, was caught laughing during the interview. Later, she told reporters, "That's the tone we need, truth in real time." And as she meant it, this wasn't drama, this was honesty, something raw, something real. Teammates didn't flinch. If anything, they exhaled. Finally, someone had spoken aloud, what had been simmering under the surface for far too long. Sydney Coulson added a touch of humor to the moment, posting a meme of Sophie holding a mic with a caption, "When the truth gets too real for morning coffee." It was playful, but not mocking, it was admiration. Online, the fans erupted. X, formerly Twitter, buzzed with praise. One fan wrote, "What we've all been yelling at our TVs." Another posted, "Finally, someone isn't afraid to shake the room." Reddit threads overflowed with takes calling her a true leader, not just another rotation player. And just like that, the Fever became the league's hottest topic, not for wins, but for daring to break the silence. Media outlets swarmed. Yahoo Sports called it a tactical mic drop. ESPN speculated on possible tensions between players and coaching staff. Debate shows hosted heated panels. Some labeled Sophie reckless, others applauded her bravery. Was this a risky message, or the start of a leadership shift? Either way, the narrative had shifted, and Sophie was the focal point. Other players around the league began weighing in. Some respected her courage, others cautioned it could backfire, but nobody ignored it. For a team barely making headlines days earlier, Sophie's moment completely flipped the narrative. Fans who had tuned out were suddenly glued to the action. National shows spotlighted the Fever. Social media transformed her quote into a movement. Without a formal title, Sophie Cunningham started evolving into more than a strong presence off the bench. She became the emotional center, the unspoken standard, the lightning rod disrupting comfort in the name of accountability. And as new energy filled the locker room, Sophie wasn't just sparking the fire, she was becoming the flame, the Fever's hidden flame. From the outside, her move to Indiana seemed routine, a veteran shooter with grit joining a young, hyped team led by Caitlin Clark. But inside the Fever's training facility, it became clear Sophie arrived with more than a jumper. She brought edge, leadership, and a fire that couldn't be taught. It first appeared in small moments, diving for loose balls, contesting boards she had no business reaching, refusing to let energy drop even when the scoreboard lagged. After a clutch game against Atlanta with 16 points and 10 rebounds, she was asked what flipped her answer was simple: "I bring the energy, I bring the feistiness, I'm a little sassy." That sass turned out to be exactly what the Fever had been missing. She didn't just appear on stat sheets, she showed up in spirit. When Clark got poked in the face during a heated June game against Connecticut, Sophie didn't hesitate. She stormed across the court and shoved the opposing player to the floor, a flagrant foul and ejection, but also a statement. She wasn't just defending a teammate, she was protecting the Culture they were building that moment, though controversial, made one thing crystal clear: Sophie wasn't afraid to get her hands dirty if it sent a message. And when the season heated up with key injuries mounting pressure and media scrutiny, Sophie became the voice everyone looked to. "We're circled on everybody's schedule," she told reporters after a frustrating loss to LA. "Nobody likes us, all we've got is each other." It wasn't just a quote, it was a challenge, a line drawn in the sand for a team. Still shaping its identity, Sophie wasn't just talking. She was leading behind the scenes. Her move from Phoenix to Indiana came with its own lessons. She admitted she had grown too comfortable with the Mercury in Indiana, though she leaned into discomfort. She welcomed the responsibility, embraced the city, the fans, and the team's grind ethos, and made it clear everything she had learned from Diana Taurasi she now wanted to pass down to Caitlin and the next generation of Fever talent. That mindset didn't go unnoticed by the front office general manager. Lynn Dunn called her a fierce competitor and praised how smoothly she fit into the team's evolving chemistry. Coach Stephanie White trusted her voice on the floor, and in the locker room, it followed her lead. Sydney Carlson summed it up best: "She makes the hard work feel lighter, and that matters." Teammates shared the same sentiment online, calling her a keeper and the team's heartbeat on game days. She wasn't just warming up, she was leading warm-ups, calling out switches, pulling rookies aside during breaks, and reminding everyone, "We're not here to watch, we're here to win." When the pressure rose, her hustle never wavered. It wasn't flashy, just steady, relentless, contagious. Off the court, she mirrored Indiana's energy after a blowout when she joked that the fans were sassy like me and the crowd loved it. That Midwestern grit, she wore it like a badge. Over time, Sophie became more than a role player. She became the voice of the team's fight. The one players relied on, the one who never flinched, the one who kept the locker room alert, focused, and real. And just when it seemed Indiana had peaked, could Sophie Cunningham be the spark to redefine it all? Stay tuned. Sophie Cunningham's second act, though long admired for her grit and basketball IQ, Cunningham has grown into something far more compelling: a player who refuses to be confined. She arrived in Indiana in early 2025 via a 4-team trade that surprised many, but made perfect sense in hindsight. For the Fever, it wasn't just adding another shooter, it was about injecting fire into their core. Sophie wasn't just traded in, she was summoned to be the soul. Sophie Cunningham arrived in Indiana with fire, and she's delivered on the court. Her role has never been cleaner, but never more vital. She now commands every inch from the perimeter to the paint, guarding multiple positions, diving for loose balls, and hitting clutch threes with almost instinctive timing. Her performance in an early season clash against Atlanta, posting 16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 triples, and a block, did more than fill a stat sheet. It cemented her as Indiana's chaos queen in every sense. Cunningham didn't just hustle, she roared, "I bring the energy, I bring the feistiness, I'm a little bit sassy," she told reporters that night, and no one has doubted it since. But what made Sophie's arrival electric wasn't just her on-court stats, it was the transformation she unveiled off the court. No longer the player known only for corner threes and tough falls, she redefined herself. Gone was the college kid living on Taco Bell and muscle memory. In her place stood an athlete shaped by disciplined nutrition, daring fashion, and refreshing transparency, blurring the line between fierce competitor and fan favorite. In one viral August 2024 fashion moment, she strutted into a game in a color-blocking mini dress with tan lines and unapologetic confidence. That outfit, chosen by her mother Paula, didn't just trend, it defined her. Cunningham's wardrobe became a reflection of mood rather than market trends. Some days, soft cowgirl chic, other days, bold streetwear layered over sports bras. And while social media often highlights curated perfection, Sophie's feed shows something different: clumsy dances with teammates, gym day vlogs, bikini beach shots, and genuine laughter mid bloopers. Her nearly 150,000 Instagram followers aren't just scrolling, they're engaged. Behind the glamour, the training never stops. Off-seasons are spent at her grandparents' 75-acre Primus farm about 30 miles east of Columbia, Missouri. That's where Sophie resets. Mornings begin before dawn with skill drills led by Fever trainer Keith Porter. Sharp shooting, defensive footwork, conditioning so intense, she jokes about seeing her deathbed, then it's trail rides, creek fishing, or singing in barns. Faith, family, and fresh air, her kind of balance. Even her car isn't flashy, no Lambos, no luxury fleets. Sophie chooses vehicles that serve her, not the other way around. Way around, reliable, spacious, and practical enough to haul gear, groceries, and gym bags, she's partnered with brands like GMC and Adidas, not as a celebrity billboard, but as a working athlete building a lifestyle rooted in purpose, not pretense. The same approach applies to food with Quest Nutrition's guidance. She's swapped sugar-heavy meals from her youth for protein-packed performance fuel, sneaking in muffins and brownies that taste indulgent but perform like science. Yet, her defining moment came in June 2025 during a heated game against the Connecticut Sun when she responded to a shove on teammate Caitlin Clark with a swift takedown of JCS Sheldon. The crowd gasped, social media erupted. Cunningham was ejected and fined, but what the world witnessed was far greater. The enforcer protecting her team, her jersey immediately became Indiana's top seller. Fans praised her loyalty, critics called it excessive. Sophie remained silent, let the tape roll, and let her actions speak, but that fire is never reckless, whether attending Ronald McDonald House events or launching her Sophie Cunningham Classic to spotlight young Midwestern athletes. Her off-court efforts reveal a woman as dedicated to giving back as she is to chasing championships. She doesn't flaunt wealth, she creates opportunities. She doesn't sell drama, she spreads joy, and through it all, her connection with teammates, especially Caitlin Clark, has grown genuine and relatable. Not just tactical trust, but emotional camaraderie. Together, they trade jokes, coordinate outfits, and share pregame prayers. This isn't just another chapter for Sophie Cunningham, it's a full-blown renaissance. But what does Sophie Cunningham's transformation truly signal? A fearless evolution or a risky distraction? We want to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.